Hi, my name's Phil Gardner and welcome to Fun with Boxes. Well, today we are taking a look at an adorable little pocket-sized card game, and that is Otter. And this is a game for 1 to 4 players. Will take you around 30 minutes to play, and it's designed by Dylan Coyle, I think I hope I pronounced your name correctly there, but I'll pop it up on the screen anyway. This is from Charming Games Collective, and I tell you what, it is beyond charming. Beyond charming. I'd go so far as to say this is really adorable. Well, what is Otter all about? Well, you need to play all your cards first to win, and each otter will have a number and a suit rule, and you can keep playing where you match both rules, and every turn is a little puzzle. So Otter is a card shedding game, and the first person to get rid of all their cards from their hand, then they will win a lucky otter stone, and then the game would continue. And once a player has won so many otter stones, then they will win the game, and that's dependent on the number of players that are playing. Well, let's take a look at how we set up and how we play this rather wonderful and, as I said, adorable little card game. Now, the first thing you need to do is to separate the cards by their type. So you'll have a bunch of lovely otter cards, and you'll have some otter heads there, and you'll have some otter tails, and both of these are double-sided. Now, the game came with these special little cardboard tiles that you don't really need to use, but they're included to enable you to pick up the head and tail cards easily off a table, especially if you're playing on a glass table, for example, and it could be difficult to pick up the cards. So what we were doing is we were placing the card a bit like that when we were playing the game. I'm not sure if that's how you're supposed to use them, but it meant that you were able to pick the card up quite easily, to flip it from one side to the other. I'll put these to one side while I go through how we set up and how we play the game. Well, the first thing we need to do is to give each player one of the player reference cards, which are double-sided. There's a lucky stone on the back, and there are the rules there on the front as a reminder when you're playing the game. So give each player one of these cards. So if I was setting up a 2-player game, we'd give the players their cards, and then what you will do, you will shuffle the main otter cards. Now these are the tummy cards, and you may be thinking, tummy cards, what are they? Well, you would give these a good old shuffle, and let's move these out of the way for now, and we would deal each player 10 cards. And you place the deck then in the centre of the table within easy reach of all players. Now, if playing with less than 4 players, you're going to have a couple of the player aid cards left over, the lucky stones. Keep these close by as well. And now we need to take 3 basic otter head cards. These cards are the higher, the even, and the near cards, and you would place these into the center of the table, and then you would need to put a random tummy card. So I'll just take these randomly from the top of the deck, and we'll add these underneath the otter heads. And now all of a sudden these cards are making sense as to why they're called tummy cards. Look at that. How fantastic. And then what we would do is put a random tail on the bottom of each card. These are double-sided, so randomly shuffle them up and then pop them the bottom of each of the tummy cards. And just look at that. How absolutely adorable. How adorable is that? When we were playing this game in Aircon Northwest in Manchester, the number of people who just had to stop and look at the game, it was quite incredible. What a wonderful way to use cards in a game. Okay, so now we've done that, the last player to go to the beach is going to go first. Now, for future games, you can, of course, randomize all the head cards, like we did with the tails, and place them out on the table at random, but this is the recommended setup for your first couple of games. Now basically the head cards will have rules about the card numbers, whereas the tails will have rules about the different suits in the game. So just for an example of playing in this game, I'm going to put 3 different suits out here. So there are a number of suits in the game. There are the Sheldons, the Finstons, the Todd, and there is the Clawson, and also there is the Starden. So there are 5 different suits. So how do we play it? Well, players are going to take turns in a clockwise order, and on your turn you will do the following steps in order. Firstly, there's the high tide phase, and this is optional. Then there is the low tide phase, which is mandatory, and then it's the next player's turn. Now in high tide we will be drawing cards and changing otters, and in the low tide we are going to be playing 1 or more cards on 1 otter. Okay, so the high tide, which is optional. Now before you play a card at low tide, you may draw either 0, 1, 2 or 3 cards from the deck. And for each card you draw from the deck, you will be flipping either a head or a tail. Or you can swap the places of 2 heads or 2 tails. And all of this is optional. You do not have to do that. So again, before low tide, you can, if you want to, draw up to 3 cards from the deck, and for each time you do that, you either flip a head or tail card over. For instance, I could flip this card over, and there we've got the crab there, Clawson. And if you notice on the bottom left hand corners of the cards, you can see what the card will be when you flip it over. For example, if I flip this over, I can see it's going to have the starfish, which is Starden. Or you could swap 2 tail cards or 2 head cards. Now with the head cards, with the higher card there, if you flip it, you guessed it, it's going to change to lower, and the even card will change to odd, and the near card will change, of course, to far. The second phase of your turn, this is the mandatory phase, so you have to do this. And you must play a card onto an otter's tummy. And it must follow the rules on that otter's head or tail or both. Now, you can play another card. You can keep playing cards on the same otter as long as you follow both the rules for the head and the tail. So let's take a look at my hand here. So if I swap this back to there just to show as an example. So I could play this odd numbered card following the rule for odd numbers, and it is also the same as the tail card there with the starfish. So I can play this card onto the otter, and I've satisfied both rules, both the head and the tail, which will allow me to play another card. If the card you played only follows one rule, your turn will end. Or you can choose to not play another card. Or it could be you cannot play another card. And then the next player to your left will go next. So in this example here, because I've played a card that matches both head and tail, it means I can play another card. So I could, for example, play this odd number card here, which is number 7. It satisfies the head rule, but it doesn't match the tail. But that's okay, I can play it, but then my turn will immediately end. And as another example here, I need to play a card higher than 1. And if I've got the crab cards there, well, I can play this 3. Then I could play another card which is higher. So I could play the 11. And again, I've matched both, so I can carry on. And I can play the 13 there, again, which is higher. And now looking at the cards in my hand now, I do not have any cards that are higher than 13. I do have one crab card though, so it matches the crab rule down the bottom. It doesn't match the rule on the top, so I can still play it, but my turn ends immediately and then it's the next player's turn. Now, the idea here, as you will probably have guessed, is this is a card shedding game. So the idea of the game is to get rid of all your cards before the other player or other players. Now, if I was to have successfully played all my cards first, then what I would do is I would take a lucky stone, and in order to do that, what I would do is flip over my rule summary card to show my lucky stone, and I've got one lucky stone now, and then we would end the round and begin the next round. Now, players do not discard any cards they've got left in their hands, and what we would do, we would deal each player back up to 10 cards, including the cards they didn't play. And if a player has more than 10 cards in their hand, they can randomly discard down until they have 10 remaining, and put any discarded cards onto the bottom of the deck. Now, don't change the otter heads and tails or their tummies. They will stay the same for the next round. And the next player will start to the player left of the previous player, and so the game would continue. Now, the end of the game. If you're playing with 2 players, if I was to win another round, I would take one of the lucky stone cards and add that there, and if I was to win the next round, I would take the final lucky stone and add that here, and as soon as you win your 3rd lucky stone, you've won the game. Now, if you're playing a 3 or 4 player game, if you've won 1 lucky stone, as soon as you win your 2nd, then the game is over and you've won. Now, if you were playing the game solo, then you would win the game as soon as you've won all 4 of the lucky stones. And that's it. That's how you play the game. This really is a very lightweight but very, very fun game. Now, there are some strategy tips and certain things to remember included, and there's an optional rule that you can play there, and we have the solo rules there, and we have an otter party there with unlimited players where you can add 4 extra players per deck that you add to the game. And then we have the details there of all the different cards, the different suits, and exactly what the otter heads are. So for example, in this game, it was far up or down 3 more. So you would have to play a card that is 3 or more than 8, either up or down. So you could play a 2, for example, or you could play a 13. And the near card is playing up or down 2 or less. Obviously you've got the odd and even and higher and lower, and you have a few other head cards as well. But everything is very straightforward and all detailed rather nicely on the rule book there. And of course you have your player aids there that will remind you about what you can do at high tide, what you have to do at low tide, and how many times you need to win an otter stone to win the game. And there you have it. That is Otter. Well, there you go, Otter. Oh my goodness. This is a wonderful, wonderful little filler game for 1 to 4 players. It really is absolutely fun in a pocket-sized box. It really is brilliant. It looks wonderful set up on the table with your 3 otters there. Look how cute they are. It's quite strange. It's a card game that actually has table presence, because people will stop and watch you play the game, and inevitably you will hear them going, "Oh, look at that." And also they will stop and ask you, just where did you get that game? Because it does look so much fun. But not only that, it plays wonderfully. This is a very clever, simple card shedding game, and I love it. I really, really do. I am so glad that we backed this game. I think it was on Back a Kit, and it's just fulfilling now in the UK. And I believe the Charming Games Collective have got another campaign now on Back a Kit, and I tell you what, I'm going to be looking that up now, and I'm going to be backing that one too, because I loved this game so much, so much. In fact, I'm giving it 2 big Fun with Boxes thumbs up. 2. I mean, I could give it a big toe as well, but I can't. I'm not that limber anymore now. No, so I'll just stick with 2 thumbs up. Now, if you've seen my unboxing video, you will know that I got a little plushie. Look at that. A little starfish plushie. It is super, super adorable, just like the game. But not only that, I've got a cuddly otter as well. Look at them. Oh, aren't they wonderful? Yes. And you can store the game in its tummy. Amazing. Amazing. Oh, as you can tell, I am very, very enamored with this game, and we've got a number of other games as well that I backed before, and this is the Park Life games, where you've got a Hedgehog edition and a People edition, so they are well worth checking out as well. And here is the Otter. I went for the deluxe edition, and this one, in case you haven't seen my other video, comes with a lovely playmat to put your otters on. Woohoo, woohoo. Well, there you go. Otter, a small pocket-sized card game that really delivers so much fun and enjoyment. Like I say, I really highly recommend this game. It's a wonderful, wonderful filler game. Well, I do hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please hit the old like button, and please click that subscribe button too if you haven't already, because that would really help to grow the channel. And in the meantime, as always, thanks so much for watching. Please do take care, and bye for now.